On Women's Right to Vote, Susan B. Anthony. Friends and fellow citizens, I stand before you tonight under indictment for the alleged crime of having voted at the last presidential election without having a lawful right to vote. It shall be my work this evening to prove to you that in thus voting, I not only committed no crime, but instead simply exercised my citizens' rights, guaranteed to me and all United States citizens by the national Constitution, beyond the power of any state to deny. The preamble of the federal Constitution says, "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America." It was we, the people, not we, the white male citizens, nor yet we, the male citizens, but we, the whole people, who formed the Union. And we formed it, not to give the blessings of liberty, but to secure them, not to the half of ourselves and the half of our posterity, but to the whole people, women as well as men. And it is a downright mockery to talk to women of their enjoyment of the blessings of liberty, while they are denied the use of the only means of securing them provided by this democratic Republican government, the ballot. The more I think of the President Grant's triumphant declaration to the powerful working men of the United States that the ballot was given them not only as a shield to their liberties, but also as an implement for working out their own and the nation's destiny, the more shame I feel for my sex that we have suffered ourselves to be thus cheated out of our God-given rights by the tricks of the political jugglers who have so long ruled the country. For any state to make sex a qualification that must ever result in the disfranchisement of one entire half of the people is to pass a bill of attainder, or, in other words, a bill of pains and penalties. For 600 years, the English statute books abounded with enactments of attainder, but your fathers, in 1789, said, in the Declaration of Independence, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What, I ask you, is a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness without the right to vote? The right to vote is the only means by which a citizen can protect his life, his liberty, and his property. The 14th Amendment says, "All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States. Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Are women persons? Then they are citizens, and no state has a right to make any law or to enforce any old law that shall abridge their privileges or immunities. Hence, every discrimination against women in the constitutions and laws of the several states is today null and void, precisely as is everyone against Negroes. As to the 15th Amendment's prohibition of the denial of the vote on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude, women were most assuredly included, for they were held in a condition of servitude under the common law. Married women especially were in a condition of servitude. Blackstone says, "The husband and wife are one person in law, that is, the very being or legal existence of the woman is suspended during the marriage, or at least is incorporated and consolidated into that of the husband. The wife had no right to her own person, no right to her own property, no right to her own earnings, no right to her own children, no right to make a contract, no right to sue or be sued, no right to testify in court, no right to vote. She was in a condition of servitude. The 15th Amendment was passed to prevent the states from disfranchising the Negro on account of his previous condition of servitude. But the women of the country were in a previous condition of servitude also. Therefore, the 15th Amendment protects the women as well as the Negro. The only question left to be settled now is, are women persons? And I hardly believe any of our opponents will have the hardihood to say they are not. Being persons, then, women are citizens, and no state has a right to make any law or to enforce any old law that shall abridge their privileges or immunities. Hence, every discrimination against women in the constitutions and laws of the several states is today null and void, precisely as is everyone against Negroes. In conclusion, I submit that the proposition that women have the right to vote is not a new one. It is as old as the government itself. It was asserted in the Declaration of Independence. It was asserted in the Constitution. It was asserted in the 14th and 15th Amendments. And it has been asserted by the highest judicial tribunals of the land. The question is no longer one of theory, but of practice. Women have voted in this country for more than 50 years. They voted in New Jersey from 1776 to 1807. They voted in several of the states under the colonial governments. They voted in the early days of the Republic. And they are voting today in Wyoming, Utah, Colorado, Idaho, and in school districts in 25 states of the Union. The time has come when the question must be settled. The government must either acknowledge the right of women to vote, or it must deny the fundamental principles upon which it is founded. I ask you tonight to take your stand on the side of justice and liberty. I ask you to declare that women are persons, citizens, voters. I ask you to say that the ballot is the right of every citizen without regard to sex. Thank you.